Hello, this is Dave with Clarksville Guns and Archery, coming at you again with another video. This time we're going to be reviewing the Kel-Tec P50. And to start off, it comes with this very large, lovely box that we see. It's probably the biggest Kel-Tec box I think I've ever seen. We'll go ahead and open it up and do an actual unboxing video as well as a review. So come on down with me and let's do this. First off, you got your sides here. Open this bad boy up. Of course, there's your manual of arms. And let's go ahead and get this out. And as we can see, this is the star of the show right here, the Kel-Tec P50. And just so we're
P250
the P50. P50.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and pull this back. As you can see, it's unloaded. And I'll show you how to open it up here in a moment after we look at everything else in the box. So what comes in the box? Well, first off, you get your trigger guard that has to come with all firearms. It did come with a chamber flag, just so you know it's in there. You have a sling, as well as attachment points to put on the firearm, which is a very nice touch. But the coolest thing about this is they actually give you a spare magazine, and you don't really see that too often. So we'll talk about that again here in a moment, but that's all what comes on the box. So let's go ahead and talk about the gun now. So this gun, if I can get it out here, as you can tell, it's a very space-agey looking firearm. The first thing I thought when I looked at this was it reminded me much of the E11 blaster that you see in Star Wars, which of course that's based off a different gun. So you can still have that vibe to it. It's very sci-fi looking. To start it off though, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. So in the back here you have a little bit of a lever. You push down on that. At that point you just pull this piece up and it comes apart. You simply pull the magazine out and your firearm is cleared. Of course, then you've got your dual bolt system right there. And it's a very simple looking firearm as far as I can tell. There's not a whole lot going on here. I kind of like that. Simple is always a good thing. And it's a very important thing and a very, I think, cool thing that they utilized the FN P90 magazine. Of course, this does hold 50 rounds, and when you want to load it up, make sure where you put the rounds at, it goes against that so it locks in. Simply this point, and you're good to go. Now your charging handle is going to be on the back here. If you notice, it's very AR-15 style. So you grab it like so, and that's it. And then at this point, if it had rounds in the firearm, it would be loaded. To kind of go over everything else, just a little bit of a few nuances. To begin with, they did include a little bit of a groove right here. And that is, of course, so you can put your hand right there. So when you're shooting, you have a very good grip on the firearm. They did include a bottom rail as well, as in case you wanted to put like a hand stop or a flashlight or anything else down here that you'd like. The other thing I thought was kind of neat is they included, if we can kind of zoom up on that, you actually have iron sights that come already on the firearm. You have a rear notch that's kind of right there, and up front you have a very small, almost AR-15 style front sight. So they did give you a way to aim the gun before you put optics on it. And finally, last but not least, as I'm seeing more and more firearms come with, is they do give you a threaded barrel. So if you wanted to suppress it or do whatever their other kind of compensators that you wanted on the end of this, you can. So that's kind of the cool little breakdown of this firearm. And that's kind of where it stops for a lot of us. This is a really cool firearm. It seems to be very fun. I think you have a lot of fun with it. There's a couple things I don't like about it though. So for one, the way this safety works, let's talk about that. If we can look at the safety. It is an ambi safety, so you do have one on both sides. Of course, that right there is unsafe. Kind of won't go bang. When it goes forward though, and whether you're right-handed or left-handed, and I'll show you the left side just so you know I'm not making it up. If you see where my finger's kind of laying, that little piece down right here digs into your hand a little bit. It's not a deal breaker, but it's not really that comfortable either. I would almost say if you had some kind of arm brace and you had your hand lower, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. But if you're a more modern shooter, which most of us are, you're gonna want the hand high up on the back strap and you're gonna rub it. That's something I really didn't really appreciate too much. So Kel-Tec, if you're looking, maybe shave that down a little bit. Might be a good idea. Who knows? The next thing we need to discuss is the way this thing comes apart. As far as taking the firearm apart, I don't know if you saw how I took it apart earlier, but I really had to push down on that lever. Now that's not a bad thing. It ensures the gun's going to stay together. Here's the problem I have. If you're doing it quickly, that mag is not very stiff. Earlier it kept doing this on us, and I get it. It's not a huge deal. You're changing mags anyway, and yes, it's mostly a ranged toy rather than say a true self-defense firearm. Kind of wish that they would have had a better way to secure this. Again, it's not a deal breaker, but kind of feels like they could have done a little more work on that. But I mean, it is what it is, and I do think they did a good idea, especially utilizing that magazine. And of course, I won't break it down for you guys. Don't want to make the video too long. But the other thing I wanted to point out that Kel-Tec's already come out and said, they're not going to offer an arm brace on this firearm. And the reasoning is they feel that the market's oversaturated and so many people want different things. So they're not going to come out with one. So if you decide to purchase one of these, I do like the fact they do give us a sling, so you can at least bungee it around your body, and then when you go to present the firearm, you create a little bit of tautness around it. So that does help a little bit. But that's the only really negative thing that I could see about this firearm. But it is a cool gun. At the end of the day, this is what this is. This is a cool little range toy. It comes in at a decent price point. So I think if you look to pick one of these things up, I don't think you'd be unhappy with it. I think you'd have a lot of fun with it. So that's the Kel-Tec P50.